Good evening, everyone. The brother of murder victim George Floyd brought both his family's grief and hopes to Congress today. During an emotional hearing in Washington, a tearful Philonise Floyd implored members of Congress to not let his big brother's death be in vain. And he spoke of the pain of watching the video of his brother's last moments of life. His testimony comes as Congress considers sweeping police reforms. Kristen Welker has details.
He didn't deserve to die over $20. I'm asking you, is that what a black man is worth? $20?
On Capitol Hill, an emotional and raw appeal from Philonise Floyd demanding justice for his brother George.
He pleaded for his life. He said he couldn't breathe. Nobody cared. Nobody. People pleaded for him. They still didn't care. Justice has to be served. You don't even do that to an animal. His life mattered. All our lives matter. Black lives matter.
Floyd describing the despair he felt watching the video of an officer kneel on his brother's neck. 8 minutes and 46 seconds of horror.
I just think about that video over and over again. Felt like 8 hours and 46 minutes. Hurt seeing my brother plead for his life. Watching an officer just put his knee on his neck.
Now demanding that lawmakers take action to prevent others from dying like his brother.
Honor George and make the necessary changes that make law enforcement the solution and not the problem. Hold them accountable when they do something wrong. Teach them what it means to treat people with empathy and respect.
Lawmakers striking a rare bipartisan note.
Today is a day to set our politics aside.
It's not a Democratic issue or a Republican issue. This is an American issue.
NBC's Casey Hunt on the Hill.
Floyd's plea was for Congress to do something. But while Democrats want to ban chokeholds and no-knock warrants, Republicans and the president aren't ready to go that far.
For his part, President Trump met with African-American media personalities and faith leaders at the White House today. He's come under fire for not yet releasing a plan to address the crisis.
When you look at the economics, when you look at how well the black community has been doing under this administration, nobody's done anything like we've done.
The White House is also on defense after the president tweeted a baseless conspiracy theory on the day of Floyd's funeral, accusing the 75-year-old protester in this video who was pushed and injured by police of a setup based on a false report that originated on a fringe website.
Does he regret tweeting out this protester was assaulted?
The president does not regret standing up for law enforcement men and women across this country.
I just wish.
As for Philonise Floyd, at times overwhelmed by grief, a simple request that his brother does not die in vain.
Wish I can get him back.
And right now, a powerful scene unfolding across the street from the White House that we want to show you. George Floyd's brother marching with protesters, their fists in the air and emotions running high as they call for change. This captured just moments ago. Meanwhile, President Trump announced today he plans to hold a campaign rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma next Friday, his first in 3 months since the coronavirus crisis began. Lester.
All right, Kristen Welker at the White House, thank you. In Minneapolis, where George Floyd died, we're hearing tonight from the police chief, including what he had to say about the officer who held a knee to Floyd's neck for nearly 9 minutes. Here's Gabe Gutierrez.
2 weeks after violence consumed parts of Minneapolis and days since the city council agreed to dismantle the police department, Chief Madeira Arredondo detailed some of the first changes.
Race is inextricably a part of the American policing system. We will never evolve in this profession if we do not address it head on.
He's cutting off contract negotiations with the police union and promising to look more closely at officer performance data to identify early signs of misconduct. But he's resisting calls to abolish his department.
This is not a perfect system, but we need to ensure, and I need to ensure, that our communities are, if they need to pick up the phone to call us, that they will have a police response and that they're being protected.
Fired officer Derek Chauvin is charged with second-degree murder and manslaughter after prosecutors say he knelt on George Floyd's neck for nearly 9 minutes. Today, we learned Chauvin was in early plea negotiations before his arrest, but the talks fell apart.
If you could look and be in the same room with Derek Chauvin, what would you say to him?
I would not be in the same room with him, and I refuse to mention his name.
Chauvin and Floyd both work security at a local club, but it doesn't appear they knew each other well. Maya Santamaria is the club's former owner, who says Chauvin was aggressive.
He also was quick to draw with the pepper spray over just any little thing. So if you have two girls starting a little fight, he'll spray everybody.
3 other officers are charged with aiding and abetting murder. 2 were rookies, and their attorneys say they raised concerns about Chauvin's actions. An attorney for the 3rd officer said he's cooperating with authorities. Today, Chief Arredondo doubled down on his belief that all 3 were complicit.
I don't put policies out to say that you should only react or respond if you're a 2-year member or a 5-year member or a 10-year member.
Arredondo grew up in South Minneapolis. He's the city's first black police chief and was among several officers who sued the department in 2007 over alleged discrimination. The case was settled out of court.
What toll have the last 2 weeks taken on you?
It's been tough. I mean, this is a city that I love. This is a city that has taken me in.
He is now encouraging the public to record their interactions with police to rebuild a trust that has been shattered.
Over the last 2 weeks, what's your biggest regret?
That humanity was not there for Mr. Floyd when it should have been.
No comment today from Chauvin's lawyer or the police union, and we've just learned a short time ago that one of the other officers involved in this case, Thomas Lane, has just been released on bail. Lester.
All right, Gabe Gutierrez, a remarkable scene behind you, that barricade outside the police station. Thank you. As demonstrations continue across America today, more examples are emerging of police using deadly force, underscoring the sweeping demands for change and accountability we're seeing. With that story, here's Gotti Schwartz. We need to warn you, some of the images here are disturbing.
Tonight, more evidence of police violence as the nation grapples with policing in America. But some officials pushing back, saying officers are now being targeted. Early this morning in California, an officer shot when someone opened fire on their police station, hitting a squad car before getting away. The suspect still at large. I can't breathe. But at protests across the country, a demand for change as signs and chants of "I can't breathe" underscore videos continuing to surface of more cases of police use of force, like the death of Manuel Ellis in Tacoma, Washington. Newly released home security footage and cell phone video showing glimpses of what happened 3 months ago, when police say they tried to arrest Ellis after reports of someone trying to open car doors. Today, Governor Jay Inslee ordering an independent investigation. The officers have been placed on leave.
All of them need to lose their jobs, and if they lied about it, they need to go to jail because that's obstruction.
In Oklahoma City, another case as police release new body cam video in response to pressure from the Black Lives Matter movement, showing the moments before the death of Derek Ollie Scott. Police were called after Scott, who was armed, got in a fight at a taco truck.
I don't care.
Let's tase you.
I can't breathe, please. I can't breathe.
Stop resisting.
I can't breathe, please.
Just reliving this all over again is like reliving his death all over again. And then watching George Floyd. There's a lot of George Floyds, and my son was one of them.
The officer is officially cleared of any wrongdoing. While in New Mexico, an officer now charged with manslaughter after chasing down Antonio Valenzuela in what started as a traffic stop and ended in a chokehold.
I'm gonna choke you out, bro.
We're seeking justice, and we're seeking a stop and an end to the violence upon citizens by bad cops.
And in Austin, police video shows a man named Javier Ambler telling officers he couldn't breathe after holding him down and tasing him 4 times. An internal affairs review concluded the deputies followed guidelines. That incident now also under investigation.
I'll give my life in return for my son to be here.
Police unions say out of the millions of interactions they have with the public, the majority don't result in violence.
375 million interactions. Overwhelmingly positive responses. I am not Derek Chauvin. They are not him. He killed someone. We didn't.
But as more videos come to light, there are calls for oversight, sweeping police reform, the banning of chokeholds, and a full review of use of force. And a growing list of cases now being re-examined and scrutinized by society as a whole. Gotti Schwartz, NBC News, Los Angeles.
These demands for racial justice are not going unheard. Tonight, we're witnessing a number of cultural shifts many say are a long time coming. With that, here's Blaine Alexander.
It's an American movie classic, known for its swirling score and unforgettable cast.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
But now, Gone with the Wind is temporarily gone from streaming service HBO Max. The film, set in Georgia during the Civil War, has been criticized for romanticizing slavery. HBO says the film will return to service with a discussion of its historical context and a denouncement of those very depictions.
Is this change necessary?
I think it's a good idea. We're at a crucial historic moment in our nation's consciousness. There was a great deal of heightened awareness of the pervasiveness of racism, and a great film, a very entertaining film, a much enshrined film like Gone with the Wind, has that racism built into it. And so I think it's important to have this context now.
This comes as Americans are looking at cultural staples through a new lens in the wake of recent protests. After 32 seasons, Paramount Network is canceling the TV show Cops, an unscripted reality show following police officers on the job. This cultural reckoning comes amid a renewed push by several states to get rid of Confederate monuments. And late today, NASCAR announcing a ban on Confederate flags from all racetracks, saying it runs contrary to our commitment to providing a welcoming and inclusive environment for fans. But as some push to rename U.S. military bases named after Confederate leaders, President Trump says his administration will not even consider the renaming of these magnificent and fabled military installations.
I think Trump is, saying what side he's on. But what I do notice is that the ground is shifting and that there are more people who are demanding a different America.
Now, new signs that America may be listening. Blaine Alexander, NBC News, Atlanta.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.